something I thought about talking about on this journey of mine is kind of saying and starting from like the beginning of why I feel like I struggle with my body like now, and like what kind of led me to where I am today. And I can honestly say that when I was a kid, or even when I was a teenager, I never really struggled with my body image, or I can't really say I ever had a moment where I ever thought about my body in any type of way. And of course, I think there's, a lot of us that were raised in the 90s that were definitely around all of the like diet culture stuff and the magazines with the celebrities on it, and always pointing out what was wrong with them and their bodies, their cellulite, their rolls, them in bathing suits, them in dresses. But I can say none of that, I guess, really ever affected me. And growing up, I was always on the thinner side. I never had issues with my weight. I, could eat whatever I wanted, and I wouldn't gain that much weight. And I think at that time, it was because I always ran around a lot. I was always out walking, playing with friends, very energetic. And I think that the first time I really noticed my body changing was in my early, teenage years. And then later in my teenage years, closer to my 20s. At the time, I was dating a guy who was really into working out. And I think that was the first time I really thought about working out and thought about the way my body looked. And I think a lot of my struggle came because, like, he would point out, the workouts I was doing, or he would comment on the way my body looked. And I think at the time I didn't realize what he was doing or what that, was doing to me subconsciously. And I had a very rocky relationship with this guy. We started dating at the beginning of high school. We dated for 6 years, and that relationship on its own just kind of put a toll on me. It was a very toxic relationship. He was a very toxic person, brought me down, downgraded me and all this stuff. And I think along the way, him commenting on my body or how he was more fit than me, and just everything kind of came into play. And after that relationship, when I got out of it, I think then I started, really focusing on my body. And, during that relationship at that time, I was, smoking weed, and I was drinking a lot, and I was putting my body through the ringer. And at that point, I was probably then the skinniest I had ever been, because I wasn't eating right or taking care of myself. And when I came out of that relationship, like I said, I think that's when it started, when I was actually kind of paying attention to my body and everything. And, it was really rocky during my 20s, because, again, that was the time where I think I started gaining weight, and I started noticing I was gaining weight. And like when I would go to the doctor and they would weigh you, I would notice the number on the scale. And then I, started in with, the diet teas and trying to just find something that really worked for me. And a lot of the things that I tried never really worked the way I saw it work for other people. And I think there are a lot of the times I wasn't giving it enough time. Like if I didn't see results in like a month or two, I would kind of give up on it and say it didn't work for me. And I just was putting myself through the ringer of like, I don't understand why all these other people are doing these workout programs, or, putting themselves on this diet and it's not working for me. And again, I think that's also something that really brought on again my anxiety and my depression side of that, because it kind of brought me back to the past relationship I was in and the pressure I felt to, you know, look a certain way or be a certain person. And when I had met my husband at the time, he never commented on my body. He never, you know, said anything that triggered that. I think it was mostly in my own head that I felt to be beautiful or to be really loved, you had to have a certain body type or look a certain way. And I put myself really through just really rough, you know, workout plans. And I just think that I wasn't doing the right thing for my body. I was just trying to find that quick fix. Like, what can I do to get my body to look the way I think it needs to look to then be happy? And, you know, I've talked about this in my recent videos of how I don't think because I was in the wrong mindset, I was doing what was right for my body. I was just kind of putting my body through the ringer and really downgrading myself when things didn't work. And again, after going through just like all these different, you know, diet teas and workout plans and diet plans, I fell on Beachbody, and that was the first time I really stuck to workout plans and meal plans, and that was the first time I really started seeing progress, and I was, you know, happy with where my body was and where it was going. And then I injured my shoulder, and I had the surgery on my shoulder, and I gained a lot of weight back. And, you know, then me and Ken got engaged and we were planning the wedding, and I think there was just a lot of stress with dealing with how I felt about my body and about my weight at the time, and how much like weight I had gained from not really being able to move my body when I had 6 months to heal with my shoulder. And I think even during that healing process time, I was very mean to myself and, you know, upset with myself for letting myself gain so much weight, and, you know, downgrading myself for allowing myself to eat the foods I ate. And I like couldn't wait to get back into working out, because that's where my mindset went. Is every time I would go to therapy, I would ask, you know, or see my doctor, well, when can I start working out again? And that was like my main focus. Like, when can I move my body? When can I start working out? When can I start lifting weights? And I think even that, just like putting that amount of pressure on myself at that time, when like I'm supposed to be relaxing, I'm supposed to be just letting my body heal. And I just like, I couldn't wait to like get back into it. Like, when can I do this? And I think too, just putting a lot of my like a pressure on myself to look a certain way for my wedding day and be in a like a certain body or be a certain weight. And I think just putting that mental toll on myself, and then, you know, mentally, and my mental health started to go down because I wasn't focusing on the areas of my life I should have been focusing on. I was just so consumed with being on a diet and how to diet, you know, and then the workouts I was doing and what workouts I needed to be doing. And then I was fasting and putting myself through that and not eating. And then, you know, I would be eating certain things, and then I would get upset that I was eating those certain things, and I would get depressed, and then I would stop eating to, you know, backtrack and say, okay, if I don't eat my next meal or don't eat the rest of the day, then that makes up for the meal I had for breakfast or the meal I had for lunch. And it was just so toxic for myself. And I just feel very sad and very bad for the person I was through my 20s, and the amount of stress and the amount of toxic, you know, negativity I put on myself. And if I could just go back and apologize to the person I was in my 20s, and, you know, just let her know that she was beautiful, and that her body was fine the way it was, and apologize for the pressure I put on myself. I really just would love to do that, like apologize to that person that I thought I had to be, and just the stress I put myself through thinking that I had to have this perfect body and I had to be this perfect weight to just almost like receive love. I think that's what it was in my last relationship, is I felt like I had to be this certain person and had to look this certain way to receive love from the person I was with. And I just think like that was a lot of just like that toxic love that like I thought was love, and that I thought if I could help and change him into like this better person, it would help me be a better person. That's a whole different story. But I think like the struggle me and my husband went through my 20s, and me trying to, berate myself while trying to create this relationship with somebody else, was really rough. And I love my husband so much. He is just a blessing in disguise, because he really helped me get through a lot of that stuff. He definitely, he still allowed me to buy the stuff and to figure out, that's not going to work for you. And he's always encouraged me to do what was best for me and to do what was best for my body. And he hates that I'm so negative about my weight and negative about my body. He doesn't care, and he's told me, like, I don't care what size you are. I love you for who you are. And, you're beautiful inside and out, no matter what size you're at or what your body looks like. Like, I think you're sexy no matter what weight and everything. And I just think, like, having somebody like him to kind of go through that time of what I was going through, and even within the last years, like, just having him there to, comfort me and be my cheerleader and encourage me to do right by my body. And if I want to eat healthy, but also, teaching me, like, it's okay to eat unhealthy things. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And again, I talked about, how in another, video, I talked about how, like, I would eat something unhealthy and then I would be upset with myself, and then I would get really depressed, because then that meant, like, I was falling off of the track that I was on to be healthier. And I just think that I had to do a lot of growing in my 20s with how I thought about myself and everything. And I just, again, would love to apologize for that person that I thought I needed to be, and apologize to my 20-year-old, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old self. Like, through my whole 20s, just apologize to that girl who just really thought she needed to be somebody or be in that different body because that would ultimately make her happy. And it's rough, thinking back, because like I said, through my childhood and like started my teenage years, like my younger years, I never had the issues I went through like early adulthood into, last year. I never went through the toll I put myself through, and I can blame, the past relationship I was in, because I think that's like where it started, and I can, that's easy to put blame there, but then, I kind of have to step back and say I put blame on myself too, because then even after that relationship, I allowed myself to keep berating myself, and I allowed myself to stay in the mindset of that, like, I needed to be a certain weight and I needed to have this perfect body to, continue being loved. And I, think that talking about this and bringing it up, like, it is a way for me to heal from that past self I thought I needed to be. And I think like it's a hard realization to come to, and it's hard to, you know, think back of all the stuff you put yourself through and the toll you put on yourself, and just like that toxic negativity that you put yourself through. And it's hard to think back of the mindset I had for the last, you know, 10 years. And it's just crazy to think that that's just the person I was, and that's the person that I thought I had to be. And I am proud of myself for realizing that there's just so much more to life than body image and, you know, controlling your weight. You can live a beautiful life, like, no matter what weight you're at. And of course, you can choose to eat healthier things, and you can work out and you can move your body, but it doesn't have to be this intense negative thing. Like, working out doesn't have to be, you know, a way to, you know, lose a bunch of weight. And it's, I guess to me, working out was just always a punishment for the foods I ate and for the way my body looked. And, you know, even just having that mind shift too is like, working out is a way to just allow my body to move freely, and it allows my body to just feel better because I'm, you know, moving it and not having it be such like a punishment. Or even like eating healthier, you know, it's just allowing myself to be, you know, nutritious in the way that like I need to put these things in my body to help my body overall, like eating more fruits and eating more veggies. Like, these are things that like you can do in a healthier way. And I just think that for a long time I was just doing stuff in such a wrong way because of my mindset of what I thought I needed to do to, you know, be in that certain, you know, body shape, or, you know, certain, you know, body size, or what the number on the scale always said. And that's why I said, for me, like, not stepping on a scale has been a huge thing, because it just affects my mental health too much, that if I don't like the number that I see, then I kind of almost fall back into that old mindset, where I'm like degrading myself, or I'm picking apart what I ate the last week, or I'm picking apart like you're not really working out like you should. And that's why even working out, like, I allow myself to walk on the treadmill, and I allow myself to do other little workouts or like dance workouts, but I don't put that much thought into it, I think, of like I used to. I just kind of allow myself to go through it and go through the working out and the, you know, movements without putting too much thought into, you know, what it's doing to my body. Because I think, you know, I like to feel how my body feels through certain things and through walking on the treadmill, but I just think if I put too much thought into it, then I'm going to slip back into, I'm not sweating enough, I'm not working out enough, I'm not doing an intense enough workout, and that's just going to be like a downward slope for me to go right back to where I started, you know, in my early 20s, and I just don't want to go that way. So that's why I've just been taking things very slow. And like I said, over time, I think the more that I'm more comfortable in my own skin, the easier, you know, working out and then kind of thinking about losing weight will become. But if I start trying to focus on that area now, it's just not going to be a good place for me, you know, mentally and physically. And I'm going to just start to fall back into old patterns and old habits, and I'm just going to really put myself through the ringer, and I just don't want to do that. So I kind of just wanted, you know, to talk today about, you know, where I think this all started and the process of how I got to, you know, where I am today and where I just stand with everything. And like I said from the beginning for my first video, is like I am excited to go on this journey because this is a journey that, you know, the last 10 years has needed to be done. And I am just proud of myself for the things that I put into place to get, like, you know, here today. You know, we're at the end of February and going into March. Like, I just feel like even over the last 2 months, I've been able to really work deep on my mindset and my habits and everything to, you know, lead me closer to that goal that I want to, you know, achieve for myself. And I'm not even saying like by at the end of the year. I'm not kind of giving myself a time frame. Just, it's going to be a continuous journey for me to just keep going in this direction and keep, you know, being nice to myself and being nice to my body instead of always like punishing myself or putting myself through the ringer. So in case you were wondering how I got to, you know, where I'm at today and why I decided to go on this journey, that is kind of, you know, the last 10 years. And like I said, this is a much needed journey for myself, and I am happy that I decided to pursue it. Mostly just for myself mentally, because, you know, putting that much pressure on yourself for so long is not healthy for your mental health. It does not put you in the right mindset and can just like destroy your life and destroy the way you think about yourself and the way you think your body should be. And, you know, like I said, I'm at my heaviest right now, and if I was still in that mindset, oh my gosh, I would be just ripping myself apart and destroying myself mentally and really putting myself through the ringer. And I'm glad that at the weight I'm at right now, I'm allowing myself to go to this journey because it's just going to be the best for me. And I just wanted to share this video kind of more at the beginning of my journey, so then I can, for myself, and then maybe even for you guys to connect with me to get a more understanding again of where it began and why I am where I, you know, was at the end of last year and just going into this year and changing, you know, my mindset and changing the way I look at myself and why I am deciding to go on this journey for myself. And it feels good. And I think anybody who goes on a journey like this, you know, no matter where they're at through their journey, can look back and say, like, this was really good for me, and I'm really proud for where I am and where I'm at. So that's just, I wanted to share that with you guys today. And I am just looking forward, and I will always say it, looking forward to see what the future holds and how far I can go. And I'm just excited to be able to look back and again apologize to myself, my 20-year-old self, and say that I'm sorry that I put you through that, and I am sorry that our mental health and our mindset was in such a bad place that we thought that to receive love or to be liked by other people, we had to be a certain size, and that we had to have this perfect body that I think, because of what I put myself through, was just never going to be obtained or obtainable because of how, you know, my mindset was. And today I am just happy with where I'm at and the progress I've made, and I can't wait to see what more progress comes in the future. So thanks for letting me share with you guys today, and I will talk to you guys again in the next vlog.